exciting day. We're really pleased to be able to announce the joint hosting of the World Cup between England and Wales. It's a 3-year countdown now. We've written to 150 local authorities and cities and venues. Fantastic response from all of them, not all, but a lot of them saying that they're really interested in hosting matches. So we know that there's going to be a lot of interest over the next 12 months in getting the right to stage even a match in the World Cup. So no, really exciting times, looking forward to the next 3 years.
This is a theme, isn't it, this decade, because with the Olympics, the Football World Cup bid for 2018, this is in the middle of those, isn't it? Well,
the golden decade of sport has been talked about a lot, and I think it's easy to quite get a little bit blasé about it, but you know, there's only been a relatively few, I think it's less than 10 World Cups staged certainly in England. I'm sure Wales have staged some World Cups as well, but World Cups don't often come along very often, and now we've got several within a short space of time, plus the Olympics, plus the Commonwealth Games. It truly is a very special time in the history of sport in the UK, and we're delighted to be right in the middle of it and a hugely important part of it. 2013, following on from the Olympics, it's a great time to be staging the World Cup.
Oh, very, very special. I'm so excited leading up to the World Cup. We've got 3 years to really nail things and get things tidy and do the nuts and bolts. I think what will happen during this period of time from now until the World Cup, the players will gain so much experience. They've just come back from the Four Nations, had a difficult time there, but it's all a plus really, because they've gained in so much experience, they've gained in stature as well, they know what it's about, they know what it's like to play pressure football and play in an environment what's hostile as well.
We're certainly looking forward to it. We've got a couple of tournaments in between that, but I think everyone's focus really is on the 2013 World Cup and getting everything in place, both on and off the field, for that tournament.
On the field, which is what you're obviously most concerned with, your methods are about making things happen, getting the structure right, so that in 3 years' time, England will have a team that can compete for that trophy behind you.
Yeah, that's intention. That's the sole intention. And you know, again, a lot of our preparations and our Four Nations this year, in terms of some of the players we took and some of the different people we looked at in different positions, is all based around that. We want to win a competition before the World Cup. That's the ideal for ourselves there. But we need to make sure young players get exposed to the level of competition that they're going to face when it comes to the World Cup. And it's very, very difficult with a limited number of international games. So we've got to start somewhere. We've started. I'm very encouraged by what I saw in the Four Nations. But those players and a whole lot of other players will be ready for this tournament.
Rumour has it there's something happening in Wales.
There is something happening in Wales in 2013, something quite big. England and Wales, of course. The Rugby League World Cup will be in England and Wales in 2013, and it's an event so many people are excited about, including myself. I'm a sports fan, I'm a massive Rugby League fan, and having been brought up with rugby union in Wales, it's great to see an event like this being held in the back garden, if you like.
I think Australia and New Zealand will get better, but I think the strides will be made from England, the England players and the young players who are coming through, and the players I speak to as well. The desire and the commitment's there's no question about that. It's really dealing with the fundamentals and being able to play under pressure for long periods of time. That's what the big question's all about, really. And I think the type of players what are in the camp now and in the organisation, they are moving in the right direction, but what they have to do though, they have to play with an intensity week in, week out. That's the big difficulty, being able to find that intensity.
One thing that Ellery mentioned when I was speaking to him was about the intensity of games that the Antipodeans have during the course of their season, particularly with the State of the Origin games. Is that something that you think should be introduced into the Super League calendar somehow to better enable players to face that level of intensity when they pull on an England shirt?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you use an analogy riding a bike. You ride a bike and you fall off a few times, which is what happens when you first play international football, and you like to ride the bike again within the next couple of days to get back up and running again. Well, you can't really do that with ourselves at international football. We're waiting 12 months at the moment, so we need to create something a little bit more like it to replicate it. And if our competition is strong and we can add a couple of things in there, then that'll certainly help. And I think our opportunity to work with some of our younger players is probably an opportunity we need to grasp with our 16s, our 18s and our 20s. We get more access to those players, and if we can indoctrinate them into a system early on there, that's certainly help for the future. So there's lots of very positive things that we're looking at trying to achieve. There's some things we can't do simply because the Super League needs to be vibrant competition. It is a vibrant competition. It needs to stay that way. Financially, it needs to stay strong. So we don't worry too much about things we can't control, but certainly we'd like to introduce a few new things.
Tell me about the World Cup itself, because you're here to launch it. Pretty exciting, I think, for everybody concerned.
Tonight is the launch event for the World Cup. 3 years to this day, we'll be celebrating the Rugby League World Cup final. But during these 3 years now, it will all be about promoting the sport. It will be about developing the most successful and the biggest Rugby League World Cup of all time. And at the same time raising its profile. So yeah, it's very exciting. There's a real buzz around the place tonight. I hope it's going to be a great night, and the finale outside with Sam and Lloyd, England and Wales players, will be fantastic, and hopefully people will really get behind it. And it's going to be real hard work for the next 3 years, but I'm delighted to be part of it.
It's going to be hot on the heels of the Olympics, of course.
Yeah, I think the organisers and the RFL are quite keen to jump on the back of the Olympics in 2012. We all know how huge that's going to be, but the funding's in place, the interest is in place to keep the momentum going after 2012, leading up to another event in 2013. Of course, this is the UK's golden decade of sport. That's what we're talking about, and tonight is part of that kick-off with the Commonwealth Games in 2014, the Olympics, of course, and hopefully the football in 2018. It's going to be a massive decade for the nation as well, so let's hope this Rugby League tournament is part of that.
Of course, any opportunity to see the world's best in the sport and gathered from all corners of the world, that's what all sports fans want to go and see. Exactly. The idea behind these World Cups is to increase the number of teams every year. In 2013 there'll be 14 teams competing. We'll be launching 12 tonight, and then you'll have the Atlantic and European qualifiers. Slowly but surely, getting more teams involved. You've got the likes of South Africa, USA and Jamaica in the Atlantic group stages. We all know South Africa's pedigree in rugby, and who knows, one day they might be matching Australia and of course New Zealand and Jamaica. They could be the surprise package, I don't know, a Southern Islander in the future as well. So it is about increasing the sport globally as well. And they're very keen, the organisers are very keen not to have sort of whitewashes, and that's why the groups have been carefully chosen. And it's great, I'm excited, it's a brilliant idea, and it's only going to grow as a sport.